Council.
Yes, good evening, Governing Board, Superintendent Evans, Superintendent's Cabinet. My name is Roman Munoz. I am your General Counsel. I'd like to remind the Board that our Board bylaw for public comment on items not on the agenda, 2 minutes per speaker, 20 minutes total. We far exceeded that, and we have, we have times to go through, and we have other presentations to make this evening.
And we will finish. We will finish the public statements that we have, the public comments we have right now, and so these are the last ones that we have. I think there's about 14 or 15, and we will call them up. President Heredia.
All right. Rick Potts, Christina Castañares, John Doe, Dwayne, another John Doe. So I don't know who's in for John Doe tonight. Let me make sure. Dwayne, Jenny May, Deborah. Is it? I'm going to say Hosem. Robert Hosem. Okay. Also. And Sachiko. All right?
Watts, please.
Yes.
Well, hey, I want to thank you guys for being here. I mean, some of the times y'all can call in sick at certain situations, so I appreciate you guys being here. And for the parents and students behind me, if anything happens to you guys, whether it be minor or major, don't go to these people. You go to the police department first and file a report. Okay? Because I was put in that situation when I worked here. They threw me out like trash. And they kept the guy, he made $80,000 over here at Lodi Unified School District as a director of transportation. Isn't that great? Meanwhile, I suffered. I want to tell you a quick story, then I'll be out of here. I got ADD, so, when I was a senior in high school, I had history, and obviously the first report card was an F because, well, shit, that's how it is. But I had a really good teacher. And he sat me down and he said, read this book. You got to read it. I mean, it's going to be one of the best books you ever read. And I fell in love with this book. I really did fall in love with this book. And then now I look at what's going on now. It's the same similarities. It's what's going on in this country. And it's the Nazi. That's what it is. It's Nazi. You got to go back to the history books and you got to read the history book. All right, you got to just teach regular class. Leave the politics out. Because I'm telling you, communist is on its way, and if you allow these, is this guy fired yet? Is he fired? Just fire him. Fire him, find the other teachers, put them on paid leave, and have an investigation. Just do that. Who cares about the politics? It's the kids that count. I was worried about the kids when I went through my situation. I was really, really worried about the kids. And you threw me under the bus and threw me out like trash. Meanwhile, the guy was driving my route. He was a sick bastard. And he gets a raise, and he's director of transportation at freaking Lodi.
Thank you.
Unbelievable. Very good.
Okay. So before you speak, do you mind if I just need to gavel in and call the meeting back to order? I failed to do that. So I'm just going to call the meeting back to order at 7, I'll say 7, it was 7:20 when we came out here, 27 p.m. Please go ahead. Thank you.
Good evening, everyone. I don't have any kids at Inderkum anymore, but they did attend Inderkum High School a couple of years ago and last year. What I'm concerned about is the fact that we have taken God out of the classroom, but we're letting in this type of evil, which is socialism. Yes. Why is it that it's so hard to let God back in and have a balance? These kids that are being taught Marxism and socialism, if you guys have noticed, they are more depressive. They don't have accountability. They're always playing the victim. We need teachers that really care for our kids, not because of their agenda. These kids nowadays, with COVID, with the lockdown, they don't need socialism. What they need is accountability. And exactly from what I saw on the article, that he's saying, I'm gonna scare the F out of them. And then now he's talking about he's scared for his life because Veritas put him out there. What kind of example is that to our children? And he's teaching our kids, high school kids, our future leaders. This guy and whoever is associated with him needs to be out of that environment where our kids are. I'm going to have grandchildren, and I don't want my grandchildren to be exposed to this. Unfortunately, all our parents here do not have the capability to homeschool or take him to private school. We are depending on you guys to give that kind of environment for our kids. Keep them safe. Do not send them to a depressive and a black hole state, because that is what's happening to our kids now. Look at them, talk to them, ask them, because right now these kids can't even speak up for themselves in the classroom because they're afraid they're gonna get an F.
Good evening, y'all. So I have 4 school-age children, and as parents, we see this, but there's nothing we can say or we can do, or it's like our hands are tied, and you all ignore it and act like it's not happening. The one time you guys get caught, what are you guys going to do? Just, act like you didn't know? Oh, come on now. You guys know what's going on. Hey, and I'd like to give a special... I'd like to give a special shout out to Gabe. Thank you for telling on all your buddies. Yeah. Hey, you freaking rat.
Hello, my name is Wendy, and as a former teacher, I know that we're not allowed to share our political views, and the students shouldn't know what we believe no matter what we're teaching. We're to teach the content and teach it professionally. Obviously, Gabriel did not do that, and we've heard lots of complaints about that tonight. But my concern is with the Facebook page that says Natomas Unified School Forum, and we have a board member, Lisa Kaplan, who is an admin for that board member, for that Facebook page. And today, when a parent asked to see the video, I posted the video from Project Veritas, the Facebook link, and her response was, "This is inappropriate for this forum and will be deleted." She says, "This is inappropriate for this forum and it will be deleted. Feel free to Google on your own." It's a Natomas Unified School Forum page that's public. And my response to that was, why are we censoring this? It's inappropriate what the teacher did. So you're censoring the parents from knowing what happened, and you have no problem with that, but you didn't censor the teacher. So he had it blatantly on his walls. So why are you censoring parents and not the teacher? Why is what we want to see inappropriate? His own words, why are his own words inappropriate? Because he's been caught, but what he's doing is not inappropriate.
You should be ashamed.
Way to call her out.
Marilyn Jackson, Director at educationimpact.us. We are a California coalition of 18 organizations. We have conferences, workshops, and town halls to protect kids. Parents are already freaked out over the age-inappropriate sex ed and critical race theory. And now they find out that their kids are being indoctrinated and recruited by an Antifa teacher. In fact, there's a whole group of them here.
What happened with that?
I would like to draw the board's attention to the California Education Code, Article 4, number 5130. No teacher giving instruction in any school or on any property belonging to any agencies, including the public school system, shall advocate or teach communism with the intent to indoctrinate or to inculcate in the mind of any pupil a preference for communism. I believe you guys took an oath to uphold that.
There we go.
I ask you to consider the kids, the parents, the California Ed Code, and your legacy, your personal legacy, because the entire nation is watching. As of last month, 54 school districts and 135 school board members were targeted for recall. Parents are not putting up with this anymore. I urge you to dismiss the teacher and any other Antifa-affiliated teachers in your school district. Thank you.
Hello, everyone. I'm Bobby. I'm a sophomore here at Inderkum. I go to school here. I am under all of your instruction. I was called last year, when I started freshman year under the lockdown, politically illiterate, and all of my beliefs politically illiterate under GYPE. A teacher I didn't even have. I didn't even know the guy. I was called politically illiterate for comparing his system and this entire system of the lockdown and all of that to socialism. Politically illiterate. Now, I have to say, I had a teacher before all of this, 8th grade, right before the lockdown happened, Mr. Fernandez. He escaped communist Cuba, moved to Russia, then that went communist, and we went to the Soviet state. Socialism takes your health care first. They own your body. Second, they take your education. They own your mind. This needs change. This needs change now. I don't know what else to say, but you all need to rethink all of this, and it needs change. I was in a class, I'm Jewish, I was in a class, and there was a Free Palestine sign next to a Planned Parenthood sign, flags of the LGBTQ, and women's rights. Do you not see the irony, the contradiction that's being taught? They were telling us we must identify with history personally. I need to personally identify with Hitler to know what he did wrong? No! Thank you. Thank you.
That was my son. My name is Deborah Hozempa. He's in 10th grade. The beginning of the year started with a history teacher. How incredible. In this class, which he just spoke of, he went to voice his discomfort. Because it's just something that, yes, there are times, whether you agree with it, whether you don't agree with it, but for these children to have to see these images for an hour and try to absorb them without any explanation of what they are or what it means to them, to anything, and they don't. They're just inundated with images without explanation. Go along to get along. Well, he won't do that, and I won't do that. I do have a question in regards to curriculum. Last year, it was very difficult. I know the previous year, I was so excited. This school district bought new curriculum books. We got to go and pick and browse and see which ones and voted on them. So last year, he got all of his workbooks, his books, brought them home. Not one teacher used those books. They had their own curriculum. Where is that from? Is it approved by you? Do you know what each of those classes are teaching? You don't. Because in his history class this year that he had for a week, They took identity tests. They took personality quizzes. A 14-year-old taking a personality quiz in a history class. For what? Exactly how does that relate to history is the question. And that was his question. My husband, who's a psychology, data analytics person, said, you will not do this homework. We sent an email to the teacher saying, this is inappropriate. Give him a history assignment. She did, somewhat. Then the next day, same thing. But this time, he emailed his counselor saying, I think I need to be moved from the class. Then he was called up by the teacher, and she said, I think you need to be moved out of this class. So, I don't think that's fair for him. He didn't do anything wrong. She did. And she was uncomfortable, I think, with that fact, and the fact that we were pushing back. Time? It's time? Okay, so I have just one more minute. Why, even today, they have yet to crack the books? Why did we spend hundreds of thousands of dollars on curriculum when they're not using it? That's my question I want to know. And if you know what the curriculum is. Because it's all worksheets and not books, including math.
All right, Madam Chair, I'm going to motion for another recess. Second.
Second the motion.
Is there prior unanimous roll call without objection?
Do you feel uncomfortable yet?